listen to that your song. I listen to it every day. There's something about it that gets me, keeps me going. As a songwriter, as an artist, you see, you're sitting in your house, you're thinking, this small me, this small me. You know, it's not about having money. It's not about making money at all. It's about knowing that you've been given a gift, and you have used it the way you're supposed to use it, and you are affecting the world in some way. You know, affecting the world in some way, and you know, you can think that perhaps if you have to, if there's any day of reckoning for artists, you can say, the gift I was given.
I use it well. Very well. Very well.
Okay, so I'm really excited to ask this question because I am a poet enthusiast. Wow. So, yeah, you are also a poet, right? Yes, and
they say so, which is good. Poet, I think is good. Songwriter I like because I know, of course. Poet, I think it's more of like a title. You give me a poet, give me a poet. Okay, I know I write words. Okay. I write my ideas. I don't call them poems really. People call them poems, and they say you're a poet. I say thank you very much.
Okay, but I believe your folk song also there's a connection between your folk.
He's just trying to be humble. His songs, I have read some of his poetry books, and I discovered that most of your songs, sir, you just add melody to the poems. That's what he does.
I love songs like that. So, at what point did you shift from doing your folk song into poetry?
Well, I always like to say that my initial instinct as an artist was the song, was music.
Okay.
I had a brother who wrote poetry, and he wrote very sappy stuff, like, you know, for his girlfriends. He used to write, but I like them. He used to write, you know, I had a book, he wrote his poems. But I actually said I was writing songs. But often a lot of those songs read like poems.
Okay.
And then eventually I decided I was going to start writing poems anyway, because I was in school and I couldn't really perform, and I could write things on the notice boards, press boards at the university then. People will read them, you know. So I used to write all these poems about meeting a girl at Agbowo in Ibadan then, you know, and how we went out on a date, and people would laugh and they would say, you know, just the way you wrote it is so sweet and rhythmic, and so that's how I started writing. And then in 1989, the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine turned 25, and they wanted, and there was a huge program, and I thought I could perform a poem. That was not the idea, just I could perform a poem. So I wrote a special poem for vets, and I performed it with two of my friends, and that was the first time I performed my poems live. And so and I thought, this is amazing. The reception was awesome. The professor who was the VC at the time, Ayo Banjo, is this top English professor. But you know, if you had Ayo Banjo speak. So when, you know, and then he came up after the program and he said, your poetry is so beautiful, is this. He was using all this big language. That day I thought, okay, maybe I could be a poet. You know, and from then I kept doing it. You know, and then just took on like that from there. And I realized, like Nifemi said, now I realized that now, you know, actually if you listen to 7 Lives, if you take the melody away, you know, she basically reads like a poem, you know,
So are you not saying that, obviously that's what you're saying though, that because from the way you sound, you're into vet, but you've given that up. Like
well, I trained as a veterinary doctor, and I trained for 6 years at UI. And when I finished, I worked for 8 years as a vet doctor as well.
And you were doing very well.
Oh, very, very
I was
well.
going to ask you that. What inspired you to have made that transition from something that was paying well?
It wasn't difficult at all. It wasn't difficult.
Tell me about it.
It wasn't difficult. I mean, of course, at that time, I was young. I was, and I was quite rich by Nigerian standards. I was quite well off for a young person. My life was good. Promise was there. The promise was there, and everybody thought I was being foolhardy to go full into music. But you know, I always knew I was going to play music. This was my primary. I always knew that. When I was 13, I wrote in a book, and I still have that book. And I wrote in that book, you know, I will become a world-famous musician, a writer, and a doctor of some sort. And I wrote that in my book.
At 13.
That's awesome.
And I've done everything, you know. So I wanted to do that. So I always knew I was going to play music. All my life, even when I was at the University of Ibadan, I couldn't wait to be done with vet medicine. I thought, I'll get this degree, and then I'll go and become a musician. But when I got the degree, then I realized I needed to make some money. Because I wasn't going to get any help with this music. And the recording companies had left Nigeria then. There was, all the big companies were gone then. The Sonys and the Polygram, whatever, all these companies were good, they were gone. So it was a difficult time in Nigeria with Sonny Abacha in government. You know, the economy was collapsing because all the world governments were against Nigeria at that time. Things were really bad. So I realized there was no way I was going to do music and So I thought, well, work for 3 months, save enough money to do a demo, and then you can. I did 3 months work. I did my demo. I still couldn't get anywhere, and there was still no money. So I stayed on. I worked for 8 years.
Wow.
But I enjoyed what I did. I worked for a company called Animal Care, you know. And if I don't know if you know them, but Animal Care is a huge company there, the biggest indigenous veterinary company in Nigeria. And I worked there, and I grew. I went to the level of divisional manager there, like a top manager. Yeah, and it was good. I learned quite a lot on that job. I learned personnel management. I learned money management as well. All this experience is helping me now as a musician. And I always say, I wouldn't have been the musician I am now if I hadn't studied and practiced veterinary medicine.
We have to take a break here and check out one of my favorite songs. I'm sorry, I'm a bit selfish today, but that's what happens when you meet your favorite artist.
Very selfish. Very selfish.
He calls the song Araro Mi, and we'll be right back.
Bàmíràn tó rẹ̀ mí o tó fẹ́ sú mi yé o má ṣe rántí ẹ̀rín rẹ̀ má túraká o. Àràdẹ̀mí afẹ̀rínpaná ọ̀tẹ̀ ọlọ́rọ̀ mi ọmọ ọ̀la Bàmíràn tó rẹ̀ mí o tó fẹ́ sú mi yé o má rántí àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ má túra mú o. Àní ó wálé olólùfẹ́ jọ̀wọ́ dúró kájọ máa lò gbà yí o. Àní ó wálé aládùn ní bèbí o. Kájọ máa lò gbà yóò nílé ọlá nílé aládùn. Lágbára o ìjó jẹ̀lẹ́kẹ́ bó bá lójú agbo tó rọ́mọbìnrin kan tó ń wọ̀ àbí wọ ọmọbìnrin lọ́kùnrin kan tí ń dá ọlọ́run lẹ́wàá máa fi bí eré lẹ́ẹ̀ máa rè ijó lọ bá wọn lẹ́wàá máa wí pé ojú yẹn ló fi wù mí o bàdí yẹn ló fi wù mí o ẹsẹ̀ yẹn ló fi wù mí o péjú yẹn ló fi wù mí o tìbí yẹn ló fi wù mí o ṣèbí tọ̀hún yẹn ló fi wù mí o ẹ̀rín tó dára ló fi wù mí o ìwà tútù ìwà pẹ̀lẹ́ ijó yẹn tìbí yẹn péjú yẹn o ẹ̀tẹ̀ jẹ́jẹ́ o.
Amazing song, isn't it? And I must say this, that I love that song.
Thank you.
I mean, don't say thank you yet until I tell you that there's a bonding between my wife and I when you play that song.
Like
serious?
It's I mean,
really?
I'll tell you the rest after the show.
But wait a minute. I know for you Yorubas, do you understand what Araro means? So I like to know what does that mean and what inspired that. We'd like to know actually.
Well, I think it just basically says, you know, maybe Nifemi can help us.
Okay.
No, you are the right
You can add to it because he has a deeper meaning, another meaning for it. So let me just say, for me, it goes like, you know, I have found something that is, you know, it's invaluable, and this is comfort for me.
Wow.
I found my comfort with this person.
So what inspired that?
I just wrote it.
Oh my goodness. So
unlike many modern love songs, this one goes beyond how the lady looks.
Okay, but you were saying, I don't want us to divert now. You were saying there's a bonding.
That's what I'm saying.
So I want you to share that testimony.
That it
now.
focuses on the qualities that is embedded on the inside. For instance, that song is saying, sometimes when I'm down, and that's what she does for me.
Oh,
you know, there are times when you're down and then there's just a lady there who is not only there to be inspired, but who also has what it takes to bring you.
Are you sure you're not
like seriously?
Now there's some goose pimples on your body right now. But let's talk about family for you. While we're producing this show, the producer was like, let's Google Beautiful Nubia's wife and children.
What did you find?
We didn't find nothing. And then I was wondering that how could this guy be on the limelight for over 2 decades and you've kept this? You know, there was a time I got a CD of yours, it was a poetry, and I saw your white baby. I was like, he's married to a white woman and then he has white kids. Are you hiding that from the world? Can you just do us the honor?
I always say that for artists, anybody who's in the public eye, it's unfair to those who are around you to be thrust in that public eye because they didn't bargain for that. You are the one who has thrust yourself in this, and it comes with a lot. See, people think fame is fun. Fame for me has never been fun. Fame is not fun. I don't really. Some people will meet me and they'll say, "You're so arrogant," because I try to avoid you or knowing. Like, you know, sometimes I'm going, I just want to be quiet, and then somebody starts screaming beautiful, and I say, "My man, you are arrogant," because I'm trying to avoid you. Because once you make that noise, other people will come and start, and then it just spoils for me the moment. So I try to, I'm not even shielding them. I just try to, and I have 2 kids, I have 2 boys, and I always tell them, you know, because when they come to, they come to Nigeria back and forth. They always travel with me sometimes, you know, and I always tell them we get to the airport or we are on Olumo Rock or we are at waterfalls or something, and people come to them and take pictures with them. And I'll tell them, you know, they're taking pictures with you because they said you are beautiful Nubia's son. You know, it's not your fame, it's not your business. Don't get into that business. It's not your business at all. Don't let it affect your head. Don't let it get into your, you know, this is my line, this is my life. You know, you got to do your own thing. Because often children of famous people have this conflict.
That's right.
That bothers them for life. And I don't want that for my children. I want them to be able to
So we
live.
can't see the picture, but the mom.
Their mother is fine.
Is she white or black?
I don't see color.
Okay.
I thought I was going to say. I don't see color. Let me tell you what I always tell my friends. That I am beyond color and beyond language and beyond all this stuff, religion and beyond all those things. You know, you find a friend. You're talking about the lady in your life. And you know what I'm talking about. You find a friend. It's not about wife. What is people do? They want to get married and put ring. And the woman starts cooking for you and you do whatever, you bring money home. That's not. You find a friend, you find someone who understands you, who's going to be there for you, who understands your weaknesses, who's not afraid of letting you go, who trusts you totally. It doesn't matter what color they are or what language they speak.
That's true.
So I have a friend. I have that friend in my life, a supporting friend.
Really, I'm really enthralled by everything you've been saying because I'm a huge fan of deep music.
That's right.
And then you do deep music.
Thank you very much.
I'm really grateful for that. You've been able to touch the lives of so many. Nifemi for one. Thank you for that testimony and all that.
Sounds like a convert.
Yes. But I'm really grateful. But I want to know, in all the musics you've been doing, all the music back to back, which of them is your favorite? Like, which of them is your standout
It is
song?
very difficult to
pick
say.
one.
It's very difficult. I mean, even for shows, it's difficult to always pick.
Yeah.
And when I get to a show, often my band will come there with an idea what we want to play. When I get there, and I see the audience,
And
it
then something
changes.
switches.
So I cannot. There are no favorites.
Okay, so I mean,
We're gonna have
really, I'm a
you
huge
do
fan
one of your
yours,
songs.
So we're going to be putting you on the spot right
We'll
now.
love you too. Yeah.
Exactly. So the spotlight is
On you.
You can't say no. You can't say yes. You
All
just
lights
do it.
on you.
Yeah.
So you just do it. So you're going to be doing your song, any song of your choice.
Anyone that comes to mind right
That comes
now.
to your mind right now. So you're just going to do it. So we're ready. Shoot.
Ọ̀rẹ́ wa ojú ọ̀run òye wa níbo la ó gbà tá ó fi dẹ́kun ìròbìnújẹ́ o. Òkùnkùn ṣú o kò sẹ́ni tí ó gbà wá o. Olólùfẹ́ o fa mí mọ́ra kí dẹ̀ra wọlé. Kájọ máa ṣe pọ̀ ló lè dá o. Àní bí ire bá wọlé ayọ̀ ní òpin kárí o. Wo ojú ọ̀run tó ṣú òjò ni yóò fi rọ̀ bèbí. Àní kájọ máa ṣe pọ̀ ló lè dá o. Jọ̀wọ́ yé o, tẹ̀lé ní ká lọ o. Jọ̀wọ́ jájọ máa ṣe pọ̀.
Thank you. Don't worry. The Igbo version
Thank
will
you
come
very much.
soon.
Thank you.
We'll have the Igbo version for you guys.
The next edition of the show, we'll do the Hausa version and the Igbo version.
And the Robo version.
Egon, thank you so much for coming
It's
to
a
the show.
pleasure. It's a pleasure.
you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank
And
you.
we hope
Thank
that you will come again.
It will be all the time, anytime. Just call me.
Yeah.
I'll be here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thanks.
We'll take a break now. When we come back, we have another amazing folk artist in the house. We'll be talking contemporary folk music. When I heard this guy, One Direction came to mind. Stick around, don't go away.
Welcome back, guys. Before now, we had Beautiful Nubia, and that man is full of wisdom and intelligence, and he schooled me personally. I don't know about you guys.
Of course he did.
Schooled me, and it has just been an amazing time with him. Yes, the Lounge, home of entertainment. Entertainment continues because we have here in the studio this uniquely God-gifted, amazing, wonderful young man
Multi-instrumentalist.
that knows how to do music really well. He goes by the name